Hi, this is John Burroughs again. I'm going to do my next podcast, which is number 13, and it's kind of a follow up, and it's called Corona Why Now? Just a Theory. I want to let everyone out there know that I am not by any means a religious person. You can have your belief in God, I have my belief in the power or energy or whatever the case may be. But there's a big difference between being religious and believing in a religion as opposed to believing in a God, okay? So the reason why I'm setting it up this way is because for my 70 years on this planet, I have noticed that the human animal has slowly deteriorated in their ethics and in their ability to want to help their fellow man. I've noticed in a thirst for power, money, greed, all those type of things. So my theory goes along these lines. It's almost biblical. I don't I don't care. And when I say biblical, let me make another statement. The Bible, from what I've known and studied, is probably full of inaccuracies. But nonetheless, it's the book, a moral compass for some people in the country. In fact, in our country, for most people. Um, but in essence, you have the Big Bang Theory. Well, you know, I don't understand it. I mean, I know there's this explosion, and I know maybe scientists can understand it, but when I can't understand something, that is more powerful than anything I can conceive of. To me, that's a God, so to speak, for lack of a better name. We can talk about, what do you call it, evolution. And of course, you can see similarities between apes and monkeys and human beings. But where did that all start? Where did it start? It's beyond my understanding. So what I'm telling you now is I believe in what I'll call my God is a power or an energy that exists in the world today and has existed since the beginning of time. I do believe this power or energy is all knowing. I do believe it's all powerful, but I don't believe it's all loving. And I've said this before. There's no God who is supposed to be all loving would let all the atrocities that have happened in my lifetime, let alone in history, come to being, come to happen, all those type of things. So why now? Why Corona? Why now? Why don't we? Why? I mean, with all the advances we have made, medically, technologically, all these things, and I'm seeing people on TV with doctor's coats. I'm seeing all sorts of people with opinions. I'm seeing death statistics for the elderly that are around 20%. I see normal statistics for everybody around 3%. All sorts of information floating out there. Then I see, I get emails from Amtrak, I get emails from airlines, I get emails from hospitals, I get emails from everybody. We're stepping up our sanitation process. We're using the highest grade sanitation. We're doing this every hour or so, and blah 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 blah. Okay. Well, you're gonna have to do it every goddamn minute. Okay, every minute you're going to have to be standing by someone on a train or a plane, and as soon as that person sneezes, touches their mouth, whatever. You have to figure out what he's touched, when he's touched it, and you've got to start spraying and wiping down. So don't get me wrong. Be logical. Do those things. Do the best job you can on sanitizing and being a good citizen. But I think this is God's test as to whether or not humanity deserves to exist as we know it. There has always been good, there has always been evil. And this is the time where we have to stop sitting there and quote unquote having faith in a God that has, like I said, allowed those atrocities. So, in my opinion, I really think that there's no real short-term solution for this, but there are short-term actions. And I think if I was given a week, I could come up with an outline for a plan that, and I'm not Bernie Sanders and, with this dreaming, and I'm not Donald Trump who says, oh no, I don't got to get tested for coronavirus. I'm better than everyone else. I'm 72 years old. I got a belly that hangs over my belt. I know I can barely breathe. I got pre-existing conditions. I'm Bernie Sanders. I've just had a heart attack. Forget it. What happens is, going forward, I believe Congress is essentially useless. Okay? I don't know how we're going to pay for all these things. I'm not interested in hearing it anymore. But does everyone remember we the people? Do we remember the statement by, for, and of the people? So who's making the decisions? Is it the people? Or is this an old man with gray hair that looks like a cartoon character telling you, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to expand that, and I'm going to do this? Or is it this other old man with I don't know what type of hair that's telling you he's going to have tax relief and all this type of thing? We are the people. We should be making the decisions. And those decisions should be voted on. Every single thing should be voted on. Not by a representative, by a particular district or a particular state, but by the people. Everything of this magnitude should be voted on. That's one thing. Secondly, every country in the world should close their borders right now. Every country. And they should, what they should do is send citizens or non-citizens of their country back to their homeland. Now, there's a caveat to that. Those citizens that are essential in finding the cure or slowing down this virus, should they choose to stay, doctors, scientists, that thing, should they choose to stay, that's fine. And same thing, should our citizens choose to go to other countries to help out, that's their decision. But I would think with all the technology in this world, we can close our borders and still help each other by communicating what all our doctors are finding and doing. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and it would take me a week or two. I could come up with an outline. I couldn't come up with all the details. I'm giving you some of the ideas. But what I'm saying is, if you look over time, humanity has gotten worse. And evil has gained a stronghold. And evil will never go away. But it has to be controlled. Just like, well, I don't know. I guess the best example I could give is organized crime. I mean, when someone's moving up in organized crime and they're gonna ruin the plans of the so-called family, that person is taken care of. So it's not a matter of bombs or something like that, but we have the ability to know and figure out who the dangerous people are out out there, and we have a duty to our fellow human beings to keep all of us safe. And we also know that we have fanatics that want nothing to do with that. I don't know. If you want an example, let's talk about North Korea. This guy throws missiles into the ocean like they're bars of soap, and he's unstable. Okay, and quite frankly, we wait too long, we're going to be sorry. And what has happened in this country anyway was in November we heard about the coronavirus in China. And we sat there, and we sat through November, and we sat through December, and then finally January we went, whoa, and then it gets to Italy, and all of Italy's locked down. So is God testing us? And if he is, we need to step up to the plate and learn how to, for lack of a better term, love each other and help each other rather than try and get our hands on everything we can for our own individual purposes, price gouge, all those type of things. That's not going to do anything but make the situation worse. So, in short, if you really want to stop something, you can't sit there and let the cat out of the bag and leave it open. You can't let the rabbit out of the hat and leave it open. More rabbits will come through. So the virus will keep happening as long as we don't close ourselves off, and at the same time it's to benefit the whole world. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to benefit the whole world, because I fully believe that, the earth was once threatened by flood, if you believe the Bible, and we had Noah's Ark, and he took 2 of every species. I think that was basically symbolism. We heard that the next time it happens, it's going to be by fire. No one really knows. But what I do know is we've had diseases before, we've beaten them before, and as I recall, there wasn't nearly the fear that is happening now and the panic that is happening now. And when I watched members of the CDC and Mike Pence give an update the other day on the television, you could see it in their faces. They were worried, okay? And I don't know if the idea was to convey that worry to the American public, but they had poker faces that I wouldn't believe. I mean, if it was me trying to make people understand, I would be giving more of an upbeat, I'd be giving the truth, but more of the type of thing I'm talking about today. Hey, let's show the world what we're made of. Let's band together. Let's make a suggestion that everyone close their borders, work out the details of all the medical experts and who needs to work on this virus, and let's get on top of it quickly, because an entire country is in lockdown now. An entire city in New York is not on lockdown, but it's I forget what New Rochelle is called. But to me, this is biblical. To me, this is the test that the human race is going to show their mettle. And one other thing, don't depend on God. If you can't help yourself, and if you don't at least try to help yourself, and show an honest effort in helping yourself, whatever God you believe in, what message do you think that's going to send to that God? Look, this person don't care. They're not taking the necessary precautions. Why should I care? So, let me know what you think. Is this one of the last dying breaths of humanity? Or are we going to step up like a good parent when their family's in trouble and make the right decisions and work with the rest of the world to help them understand why closing everything off is the best thing to do, yet work together technologically to get a quicker resolution to stop or at least alleviate a lot of the symptoms of this virus. And please, I have seen so many emails. I know people out there have, everybody's using military grade or hospital grade sterilization products, all those things. But you can't spray everything. You gotta constantly be there all the time. So, and the other thing is, I would suspend domestic travel unless it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. And those are some of the stipulations in any plan that would be developed. What is the meaning of absolutely necessary? And the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that here in the United States, we're going to have licenses, our driver's licenses are going to be embedded with all the information necessary to prove that we're citizens, and passports if we have them. So I'm assuming people who are licensed to drive in the United States and are not citizens, that's going to show up on their license too. I'm not saying I don't want to help those people, but we need to, that's what quarantines do. They shut off an area, and all of a sudden that area starts to see improvement because people aren't getting out. And if you don't want to see the whole world shut down, let's start closing the borders and making people understand that we have to work with each other, and at the same time fight evil that's always going to exist, and figure out ways to fight the people that are going to take advantage and price gouge and do all those things. Anyway, it's really a long way of going about saying that I don't think this is just the natural course of life on this planet anymore. I think it's a test. And I think it's a test from God, whatever God you believe in. But like I said before, I can't understand all the different, I can't understand the Big Bang Theory. It had to start somewhere. I can definitely have some understanding of evolution, but where did that start? And as far as religion goes, feel free to believe in a religion, but I would tell you right now that if you look around at most religions, they live in absolute opulence. Gold chalices, big palaces. Look at Rome. Look at those things. A true religious man or woman would not live in such opulence while the rest of the world suffers. Anyway, John Burroughs, looking for opinions, looking for subscribers, and very sadly signing off.